What's up, YouTubulous? EXO coming at you with another exciting install video. Today we're going straight under the hood for some much needed TLC. That's right, no more missing batteries, so we'll finally get to redo all those gunked up connections. When installing our previous battery, we accidentally used zinc-coated hardware, so that's why it looks like Scarface Jr. sneezed over the damn thing. Removing the culprits was the only way to make her shine again. So after a good cleaning, it was bye-bye zincaroni and hello stainless steel. Once our terminal was disconnected, the gunk factor was slapping us right in the face. Oil residue, belt fuzz, and of course that pesky white devil from using dissimilar metals. All we had to do now was give her a nice wipe down, but first we needed to make sure our negative wires were safe enough to move on to the positive terminal. The last thing we want is grounding out our rig, so a little tuck and tape job did just the trick. Then it was time for the positive terminal. And there she was, all freed up and ready for some love. Not half as bad as the other one, but still enough for some attention. A speck of rust and even less deco dust made it slightly less of a pain in the ass. A good bath and new hardware was the only way to save her. Next, it was time to give these suckers a cleaning they'd never forget. First off, in order to remove the sticky spots, we used some simple rubbing alcohol. This would help prevent the Scotch-Brite from leaving any black streaks, and boy, what a difference already. After that, it was time for the star of the show. This stuff works great and also does wonders for cleaning copper and lots of other metals. Literally just rub away the tarnish and watch the copper return to its original shine. Now that's what I'm talking about. With both bars looking mighty fine, let's take a quick moment and talk about gloves, particularly how gloves are not always the best way to keep copper fingerprint free. In this next demonstration, we show just that by using a fresh glove to handle the copper. Right away, you can see why we don't always use them. Hammered like fingerprints and smudge marks showed up immediately after touching. This wasn't gonna cut it, so we ended up having to clean them off one last time before everything was all put together. So until then, we were stuck with the less of two evils, the gloves instead of the bare hands. Meh. Now that everything was prepped for our fresh new battery, we could begin assembling our hardware back onto the bars. Each nut and bolt is stainless steel, so we won't have to worry about corrosion. And this time around, each connection has its own lock washer. It's crazy how expensive stainless steel can be, but at the end of the day, there's no price to a safer and stronger connection. Because there's barely any space underneath the bar for a wrench, we had to temporarily tape the bolts into place until our lock washers did the rest for us. We just needed it snug enough to get a nut onto the top without having it fall through as we tried to get it threaded. Once that was finished, the tape would peel right off, a nice handy little trick. When it came to hooking things back up, it couldn't have been easier. With our battery out of the way and each wire ready to go, the connections pretty much fell into place, kind of like muscle memory but with welding cable, and from there on out it was simply a game of copycat. Everything the same as before, just better hardware, cleaner lugs, and a fresh new battery with a cherry on top. In order to safely finish our ground terminals, the positive section needed to be covered up and tucked away from all the action. We used some fleece rags and Pennzoil bags to make sure the two connections didn't come close to touching each other. Now that would have been a hoot with all 8 batteries up back. Whew! So now it was the same game as before, copying our last layout so everything fit like a glove. And just like that, it was time to install our fresh new battery. An additional 80 amp hours of deliciousness, setting us just over 1,000 in total. With the identical style as before, this battery was a great choice to put under the hood. Along with our multiple alternators and future lithium, the electrical system should be pretty damn good. But first things first, that battery needed some good old EXO Hulkmania. Time to get her installed once and for all. Well, there she is, you tubulus. The new battery installed underneath the hood. Looking good with those little bus bars we had from last year. Nothing special, just some 1/2-inch copper to bust those connections together, you know what I'm saying? So these Iraggis are definitely popping out real good. Gotta love that yellow. So what we're gonna do now is start her up. That's right, guys. I'm gonna run inside, grab the keys, and see how this thing does. Check the voltage while it's running, and yeah, let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, it's been a long time coming for this. Haven't started the engine in quite a while. So, oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! Just dropped it down in there. Got it. Nothing bad. All right, let's crank her over, guys. Now, before I do this, actually, I'm going to expect it to kind of go whoa, whoa, whoa. It does that after I don't start it for quite a while. I gotta do like a, think an idle air control valve or something like that, or maybe an O2 sensor. It's reading kind of rich. So let's go ahead and turn her on, guys. Woo! As you can see, my tensioner is bouncing a little bit, but I'm going to be taking care of that soon when I go down to Iraggi's house. Might do something with a dual tensioner, mechanical tensioner, but it's doing good. She's riding nice and clean there. Oh yeah, YouTube is